Hey everybody, I'm Jonathan Randall and welcome to How You Like Me Now. It is a rainy night here in New York City, but we are coming to you straight from the Lower East Side. Hope everybody's feeling good, doing all right. I wanted to start off today, I guess I'm trying to figure out what to do. So I was dating this girl for like around 6 months and then she ghosted me. I've mentioned this on the podcast before. It was kind of upsetting. I was a little hurt. I was really debating whether I should, confront her about ghosting and reach out and let her know how much she hurt me. But then I realized, it wasn't, there was no reason to do that. There was no point of investing any more time in her because, I don't want to be treated like that. So, it didn't matter whether I confronted her. Didn't matter what explanation she had to say. She wasn't the girl for me. But she left this jacket at my apartment that I know she really liked. It's a jean jacket that apparently was her grandfather's that she put a bunch of pins on. So I'm trying to figure out what should I do with this jacket. First I'm thinking, hey, I should just put this jacket on eBay and see how much I could get for it. And then I'm no, is that a dick move? And then I was oh, well, maybe I should just she has some hair salons in Jersey. So I'm maybe I should just get the address to one and just send it to her. But then I'm no, screw her. She doesn't deserve that kind of effort after ghosting me. I shouldn't do that. And then I'm just should I keep it and give it to the next girl I date? Or remember with a girl that's I'm cold, be hey, I have this cool jean jacket. I'm trying to figure out what to do with it. I think I'm gonna maybe hold on to it for now. But hey, if you're a listener of the podcast, hit me up, slide in my DMs, let me know what you think I should do with the jacket. If I should put it on eBay, if I should send it back to her, if I should just throw it away. I don't know. I don't feel right about sending it back to her. It seems like that's me making more effort than she deserves. So I don't know. Maybe eBay is the right way to go. Let's see what the people think. I'm gonna hold on to it for now. I won't make any quick decisions. I was reading some of the news today, and I heard that Indonesia, they banned sex if you're not married to somebody. So unless you're married, you can't have sex. And if you do and you get caught, you could go to jail for a year for banging. And this isn't just people that are living in Indonesia. It's not just Indonesians. It's if you go visit there and you have sex with someone that you're not married to, you could also go to jail for a year. It's so much for the islands of the gods, more like the islands of the prudes. I mean, it used to be, they used to go to these countries and worry about getting caught with hash or something and then going to jail forever on some Midnight Express situation. Now you're gonna go to jail if you have sex with somebody else. It's horrible. I don't know. I feel tourism in Indonesia is about to plummet. And apparently they already had this law, but nobody enforced it. But now it's getting more religious in Indonesia, so they're gonna start reinforcing it. Even if you're just living with somebody, if you're not married, you could go to jail for 6 months. Apparently, you could also go to jail if you commit adultery. So I don't know. It's the worst place to have sex these days. I mean, I wouldn't want to go someplace where I couldn't have sex with anybody unless I married them. So I don't know. I've been to Bali, wasn't the biggest fan. Like I mentioned, they claimed it's the island of the gods. It was one of the dirtiest places I've ever been. People just don't care. You're at these beautiful beaches. They're throwing garbage everywhere. I remember I once got to this beautiful volcanic sand beach, and we're so excited. We get to the beach and we're oh, it looks pretty nice. And then we look to the left and there's a guy just standing right where the water meets the sand, just taking a piss. And you're I don't know about swimming in this one. And now you can't even have sex unless you're married. It's they don't want people to go to their country anymore. So get it together, Indonesia. Stop being such prudes. People gotta bang. You can't wait till you're married to bang. If you're gonna wait till you're married to bang, your marriage probably isn't gonna work out, and you're not gonna be a happy person in life. You have to have some sort of sexual experience before you end up with your partner, or else you're always gonna wonder what it's gonna be like to have sex with somebody else. And I bet people that do that cheat. I mean, it doesn't work out well for priests and people in the Catholic Church because they try to have an oath of celibacy and they end up doing little boys. So that is not a good thing. So I don't know. I hope Indonesia rethinks this whole thing. But until then, I'll be visiting the Philippines instead. Speaking of ladies, I wanted to talk about this. I once got catfished pretty bad. And I think what made the catfishing worse is that the person was pretending to be like a celebrity, but not like a big celebrity. Like I didn't even like really know this person until they started messaging me, and then like they were talking to me about their career. So I started looking into it, and like, you know, the person they were pretending to be was this actress. Her name is Jasmine Cephas Jones. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Anyways, she has her own show on Stars called Blind Spotting, and she was in Hamilton. Anyways, very talented actress. Her dad's an actor too, and like this person was messaging me from like an account of hers, and like telling me like stories about her life, her getting together with her dad, like all this personal stuff. It seemed like so real, and I totally bought that this was the girl. And I'm like, I don't know why this girl started messaging me. She likes my videos. But then I convinced myself, I'm like, this is the type of woman that I should be with. Why am I messing around with all these like bullshit girls with these real jobs when this girl's a freaking star? She sang for Obama. She's in the movies, and she has a beautiful voice. She's a musician. I'm like, this is the type of girl I should be with. And I like convinced myself of that for like a while I was talking to her, and I'm like, hey, and then I realized, I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't her. That like I'm totally getting catfished. I couldn't believe it. I felt so stupid. And then I confronted this woman on it because she kept messaging me, and I'm like, listen, I know you're not who you say you are. And she's like, no, I am. Why don't you believe me? And I'm just like, because you're not. Like, this is insane, crazy. And of course I was like, well, hey, follow me from, you know, the verified Instagram account of Jasmine. If it is you, then I'll know for sure. She was messaging me a lot on TikTok, and she's like, oh, my people run that account, I can't. And I'm just like, you are so full of it. But I'm like, who is this person? Why do they like want to catfish me or make anybody pretend that they're this person? They have like a whole TikTok page with like over 15,000 followers, pretending that she is Jasmine. And she like, it's insane to me. I don't get these people. Don't catfish people if you're out there. And if you're getting messages from Jasmine Cephas Jones, it's probably not her, and you're probably getting catfished too. So, you know, I talk a lot about Palestine, and you know, I am Jewish, and I think I talk about it a lot because I'm Jewish, and I don't like how the Palestinian people have been treated by, you know, Israelis, and Israelis like do a lot of what they do in the name of Judaism. And listen, I'm not against like Israel. Like I don't have like a solid stance against Israel, but I think it's very important that Israelis, Jewish community, and people admit that Israel wasn't created under the best circumstances. And I know, I didn't know this growing up. A lot of young Jewish people don't know this outside of Israel, especially in Israel. They don't know all the horrors that happen. And listen, I understand if people want to like celebrate there being a Jewish nation, but you can't do that without keeping in mind, you know, that that nation was formed off people losing their homes and their lives, the Palestinian people, okay? So just to celebrate, you know, Israel without thinking of all the bad things that happened for Israel to be created is like pigging out on Thanksgiving without having any consideration for all the indigenous people that were killed by European colonizers, which is just a fact of reality. A lot of good things happen from bad things. America came about. I'd say it's a good thing. It's, you know, despite whatever issues you have with America, there's a lot of freedom. There's a lot of great stuff going on here. We create a lot of amazing things. Like, it's a pretty awesome country, but it was created over the slaughter of Native Americans. Slavery helped build this country. These bad things made it good things. Everybody loves Apple products. Everybody loves their iPhone. Everybody loves, you know, their MacBook Air or whatever. And they're made in factories by Chinese workers who want to kill themselves, and they have to put nets on the ledges of the factory because people are jumping off. So, you know, like, we have all these good things, and they're made, you know, from bad things happening. These people getting paid like no money, you know, working ridiculous hours in bad conditions. Same thing with Israel. Yes, it's good that, you know, the Jewish people have their own nation, but unfortunately it happened over, you know, bad things happening to the Palestinian people. And there were people living there before Israelis came. And like, listen, I understand that, in 1948, that, they try to partition the land and divide it between the Palestinians, Arabs, and between the Jewish people. And the Arabs wouldn't have it. They wouldn't accept this. And, they wanted to fight. And, Israel kind of kicked ass. Which is what happened. But it doesn't mean that when Israel was kicking all that ass, they were doing so the best way. So, I talked on the last episode about Farha, the movie. I made a post about it. A lot of people commented, a lot of Israelis, a lot of Jews getting really upset. This isn't 100% real. This isn't factual. And like things like this did happen. There's no doubt that these things happen. Israeli soldiers, when the IDF was being formed, some of them did some shitty things, just like they're constantly doing shitty things right now, okay? They acted aggressively, they took the lives of Palestinians, and they totally forced Palestinians out of, like, villages, and these bad things happen. And the only way that we're going to be able to move forward and to have peace and prosperity between Israelis and Palestinians is to admit that there was some wrongdoing done, okay? It doesn't mean that like Israelis and the Jewish people were 100% in the wrong, but they did a lot of bad, shady things. And we can't just pretend that they didn't happen. We can't just blame it on, the Arab people not accepting, that they were going to divide the land. We can't just do that. We have to still take some responsibility. And until we do, things aren't going to move forward. And I feel like we're starting to do that as a society. People are looking at Thanksgiving, for example, a lot differently than they used to look at it, where, it used to just be like, oh, we have thanks and we came over here and, they wanted to present it for years. It was just like, oh, and we had a feast with the Native Americans. But, they don't want to talk about how like the first Thanksgiving, which happened in like 1637, was basically a celebration of the murder of over 700 Native Americans who were about to have like their annual green corn festival when they were murdered by Europeans. And then the Europeans the next day wanted to celebrate thanks for killing a bunch of people that weren't white. And it wasn't only that they killed these indigenous people, okay? They like chopped off their heads and would kick them around like soccer balls. They took the chief's head, they cut it off, and then they put it on a spike out in the public in Plymouth, Massachusetts. And then apparently it stayed there for 24 years. That's crazy. That's like the beginnings of the Thanksgiving holiday. But now we're starting to realize the horrible things that these massacres, that this holiday is really based on. And people are, changing their tune, not just to be like thankful, but to show respect for the indigenous people that lost their lives so that now we could celebrate Thanksgiving. And I feel like the same thing needs to happen with Israel. Israel can still exist, but it needs to do a lot of like good by the Palestinian people, and it needs to show a ton of goodwill for the Palestinian people. And this is the way we are evolving as a nation. And these horrible things that European colonizers did when we created America, I mean, that was in 1637, okay? Israel's creation was in 1948. Society, culture, people have changed a lot during that time. That's why I think people hold Israel and what happened then to a different standard, than what happened to in America, the Americas so many years ago. And by the way, do you know that Abraham Lincoln was the one that like started Thanksgiving? I didn't know that, but he started the Thanksgiving holiday. Of course, now we have a different perspective. The times have changed. Not only are we evolving, not only has the awakening happened and now everybody is more woke, but we have more knowledge at our fingertips than ever. I think people are coming around a lot to, the different fundamental human rights abuses of the Palestinian people because they're having more access to this information. And, a lot of people just had no idea what has happened. A lot of people still don't know what has happened to the Palestinian people. They don't have information and they aren't properly educated. So I hope we can be patient with people. I hope, Palestinian people, I hope the Arab population could also, want to move forward in peace and not just in hatred for what happened. Of course, the World Cup is going on right now. A lot of, Arab countries are showing their solidarity with Palestinian people. I know Morocco, they won and they took out a Palestinian flag. There have been people, talking to reporters, and they just start screaming out, for a free Palestine, and they're giving, different Israeli reporters or Israeli people visiting a hard time. And, it's people want to say, bring in anti-Semitism, but it's not about anti-Semitism. It's about recognizing that these people have been wronged and wanting to show them some support because they've been so marginalized. They've been so silenced. It's so hard for them to say anything. And, hopefully in my lifetime and all of our lifetimes, we will see a better future. We will see, Israel and Palestine living together in peace and prosperity. And I really hope that happens. Now it's time for Nerding Out with Phil. We need some sort of theme music or something. We're still working on titles.
That was a hell of an introduction.
Thanks, Phil.
Sorry. Now what you want to talk about, Guardians of the Galaxy?
No, we talked about Guardians of the Galaxy already, the trailer last week. This isn't, I guess, in the typical genre of nerding out, but do you watch White Lotus?
No.
Okay, I feel like it's a very white show. Actually, I was thinking about it.
Well, it has the word white in the name.
It has the white, and then on this season, it's everybody's pretty much white. There's an Asian guy. They're kind of like murder mystery shows. So the second season, it takes place at a different White Lotus. The first one took place in Hawaii. This one takes place in Sicily. It has almost a totally different cast, except for Jennifer Coolidge was a guest on both. And it kind of starts with a little bit from the last episode. Someone's been murdered at the hotel, and then it's kind of showing what led up to that and how it happened. But it is such a great show. It's created by Mike White, who I don't know if you're familiar with him. Yeah, his name is again more
White Lotus,
Mike White. He was in this very interesting movie called Chuck and Buck. But he's he enlightened. He was involved with writing A School of Rock, which he's in that movie as well.
Oh wait, he's the redheaded guy?
Yeah, he's Jack Black's the one who wrote, roommate. He wrote The White Lotus. So the cast is so good. Audrey Plaza is in the new season. She is incredible. Michael Imperioli, I think his name is. Yeah. The show is so good. I think there's one more episode left. We're gonna find out, who is the ones that got killed and how they got killed. It's a really great show. I recommend it.
So you don't even know who died?
We don't know who died.
Really?
You don't know who died. Someone's in the ocean and they come across a body and then oh shit, and then someone from the hotel is multiple guests have died, and so we don't know who they are, so we're trying to figure out who is gonna die. But the show's on HBO. They've been unleashing little clues of things, it's the puzzle coming together. But I think it's cool. I feel like these mystery type murder mystery shows are having a resurgence. Knives Out was very popular. And now he has another Knives Out coming out, The Glass Onion, which is kind of the same kind of deal as White Lotus, where it's there's one character or something that's the same, but everybody else is different. It's a different kind of situation.
It had a sequel, right? Am I crazy?
I think it's just coming out right now. It's called Glass Onion. It's a sequel. I think it's coming out on Netflix.
And
Daniel Craig's back, but the rest of the cast is all different.
Okay.
And Rian Johnson did that. I didn't think they would have a sequel for the first Knives Out, but apparently they did, and he was involved in one of the Star Wars movies, and he's made some cool movies. Looper, I think, was one of his movies.
Looper.
I don't know if you've seen that great movie with Bruce Willis and Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
How do you feel about Daniel Craig's American accent, the Southern drawl? How do you feel?
I mean, I guess I'm okay with it. I don't have too much of a problem. You're not a fan?
I feel like he sounds like Foghorn Leghorn.
He does, but I feel like that's what he's going for.
I guess.
He's going for the Foghorn Leghorn kind of sound, which is okay, which is good.
Yeah, no, it works. I don't know. There was one of those movies, Knives Out, where it's all my friends liked it. I went to go see it in the theaters, and there's just something about it. I was like, yeah, I don't like this movie that much.
You don't like it?
No.
Okay.
It was okay. It was okay, but it just something. About
What
it
maybe
wasn't
was it
that
all because it's
satisfying.
all white people in that movie too, right?
Yeah,
It's all like an all white cast,
that, though.
no
I mean,
diversity.
Lakeith Stanfield was in it, but also too, it wasn't really about
Okay.
that. I was just like, there's just something about it. I'm like, it's like, why do I care about these super rich people and like a super rich, person died?
Right.
Like, give me mysteries, all you want, but just have somebody that I'm like, I almost don't want to die.
Okay.
Or give me somebody that I really, really want to die. So now I want to figure out like why somebody killed him because everybody hates him.
Okay. I hear that.
But
I love that guy,
basically-
Lakeith Stanfield, by the way.
Oh, he's
incredible actor. He's amazing in everything he does.
He's the shit.
I'm such a huge fan of his.
He's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's really fantastic.
I love his shit. Yeah.
Yeah, he was so good in Atlanta.
Oh,
He
dude,
really is.
I mean, that
His
show just
character
ended.
was my
That's a whole
favorite.
thing.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you though, since you're into nerdy shit, do you watch anime at all or no?
I don't really watch any anime.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, there's a lot of things that are happening.
Okay, I don't really watch a lot of anime, but I am really into like anime girls, like the girls who like try to look
Anime
like.
porn is what you're saying.
No, I haven't watched any anime porn. I
Tentacle
should,
porn.
but there are some girls that come up on like my different feeds that like
Oh, yeah,
they
cosplay
have like
and
their
shit.
cosplay. I guess they have, like anime looks, and I'm like,
They, like,
ooh, I want to get one of these
all sorts of
anime
weird
girlfriends. Oh my gosh. There's one in particular. She's probably definitely 100% too young for me, but I'm just like I'm too into her.
You know what's so funny is I love anime, but I think all that shit is so fucking stupid. Like I think the girls are hot,
Right.
but I'm like, you don't have to dress like fucking Dragon Ball Z. You know?
I want a Dragon Ball Z girlfriend.
Show me
That's
your
what I'm looking
ass.
for. Show me your ass.
Lady.
Okay. I wasn't into. I never really watched Dragon Ball Z. Not a Dragon Ball Zer. I feel like yeah.
I feel like if
I'm a Dragon Ball Xer.
Dragon Ball. I don't know what the fuck. that
Generation
means,
X,
but-
Generation Z.
Okay,
I don't know. It's
I-
stupid.
One last thing I will say. One anime I think you would love, and this is it's doing really big things right now. It's kind of the next Dragon Ball Z is My Hero Academia.
Okay.
Yeah, and basically it's a whole thing.
I've heard of this.
Yeah, it's kind of like that's what the new like younger kids like watch a lot. It's on like Cartoon Network on Saturday mornings and shit. But it's rough. Like there's blood and all sorts of shit in it, and they curse and stuff. It's cool.
Okay.
I mean they don't say shit and fuck.
I love blood and
you know,
cursing.
penis and talk about Harvey Weinstein's deformed dick.
Oh, okay. Call back to last week's episode.
Check it out. It's coming out, baby.
Right.
But it's set in a world where superheroes exist. That's why I think you would like it.
Oh, okay.
Because set in a world where everyone has a ability, everyone. But people who have the best abilities become heroes. And it's basically about this kid who grew up without a cork. That's what they call powers there. Who grew up without a cork. And he meets the Superman of Japan. You know what I mean? The
Okay.
Superman of that world, essentially. He's the greatest hero. And basically...
Where's he been with Godzilla attacking?
I know. Fucking gone. He's out there training.
Okay.
Honing his skills, I guess. But you'd have to ask him when you have him in here as a podcast guest.
Right? Can we get Japanese Superman as a
Yeah.
guest?
Get All
When
Might
we start
right in
having
here.
guests? All anime characters and the girl that I like?
But basically, long story short, the guy tells him, like, hey, I'll give you my power and train you to become a great hero. And the story is about how this kid becomes the greatest hero in history.
Oh, okay.
And it's really cool. I think it's something that,
I'll have to check it out.
somebody who doesn't like anime but likes comics and heroes and shit would be very
It's a good like
into-
entering point.
totally
Good anime starter.
dude. And the creator he loves Marvel and Star Wars.
Okay.
So if you watch the show, a lot of the characters and the plot points are modeled after both Marvel and Star Wars.
oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty big Marvel
like both
and
of those
Star
things.
Wars fan.
There you go.
Love that stuff.
There you go. Yeah.
You know, I'm sure they gotta. I like Disney owns them both. I wonder if they're gonna have some sort of like crossover.
Please, no.
No, you don't want to
Sweet
see that.
Jesus,
I think it'd be
no.
like, come on.
Fuck
Don't you want to
no.
see just like in
No.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3,
No.
just like
No.
the Millennium
Fucking
Falcon
no.
like flying
Oh,
by?
God, no. That's the end of time. Like, I feel like that's the end of everything.
That's the end
It's
of
like, I'm
everything?
throwing in my fucking towel.
They have video games like that. I'm sure it's gonna happen at some point. They're gonna
God.
have to something like that.
I pray to God that never happens. I don't want to see Spider-Man and fucking Yoda.
Spider-Man and Yoda together. Yoda's just in Spider-Man's back swinging around. I don't like it when people like stop as soon as they get off the escalator. Like, have you never taken an escalator before? Keep walking, motherfucker. What are you doing? Like, how, are you trying to like cause an accident? Like, I'm like walking down the escalator, and then someone stops like right in front of the escalator. It's like, there's nowhere to go. Move out of the way. Like, what are you guys doing? Consideration for others is something I feel like I talk about in all the episodes, and this is another thing. Like, you gotta be like have an idea of what's going on with your surroundings and around you. So don't like go up an escalator or down an escalator and then just stop at the end and start looking at your phones like there's gonna be like a pile up in back of you. Keep it moving. Anyways, thanks for checking out the podcast this week. Check me out on social media at Jonathan Randall. Check out the podcast at How You Like Me Now podcast. You can check out my website, thatjonathanrandallguy.com. Check us out on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. I'm Jonathan Randall. How You Like Me Now.